Blackthorn Manor had always been a place of whispers and chilling tales in the remote countryside. Its imposing silhouette loomed over the landscape, shrouded in perpetual fog and surrounded by an eerie forest that seemed to recoil from its very presence. The ancient mansion's decaying walls hid a history steeped in darkness, and the townsfolk dared not approach it after sundown. Sarah, a young woman with a penchant for the mysterious, had heard the legends of Blackthorn Manor for years. It was a place she couldn't resist, and its haunting allure drew her in like a moth to a flame. With a fierce determination and an insatiable curiosity, she decided to embark on an expedition to uncover the truth behind the mansion's eerie reputation. She gathered a group of friends to accompany her on this perilous journey, each with their unique perspective on the supernatural. Her best friend, Alex, scoffed at the idea of ghosts and hauntings, dismissing them as mere superstitions. Emma, on the other hand, was sensitive and believed in the supernatural. She claimed to have a connection with the spirits, a gift that made her both a blessing and a curse in this venture. The group also enlisted the help of Professor Roland, an eccentric historian who had dedicated his life to studying the dark history of Blackthorn Manor. With his guidance, they hoped to uncover the secrets that lay hidden within the manor's decaying walls. On a chilly, overcast afternoon, the group of friends stood before the imposing gates of Blackthorn Manor, their breath visible in the crisp air. The wrought iron gates creaked ominously as Sarah pushed them open, revealing a long, winding path that led to the mansion's entrance. Twisted trees and tangled ivy obscured their vision, making the mansion appear like a malevolent giant lurking in the shadows. "Are you sure about this, Sarah?" Alex asked, his skepticism evident in his tone. Sarah flashed a determined smile. "Absolutely. This place has secrets, and I intend to uncover them." As they made their way up the path, the atmosphere grew increasingly eerie. The fog clung to them, enveloping them in a ghostly shroud. The sound of rustling leaves and distant, unearthly whispers filled the air, sending shivers down their spines. Professor Roland spoke up, his voice tinged with excitement. "Blackthorn Manor has a history of tragedy and darkness. It's said that the spirits of its former occupants still linger here, unable to find rest. We must tread carefully." The group reached the mansion's massive wooden doors, weathered by centuries of neglect. Sarah pushed one of them open, revealing a dimly lit interior filled with cobwebs, dust, and antique furniture draped in moth-eaten sheets. Portraits of the manor's former residents lined the walls, their eyes seeming to follow the intruders with a malevolent gaze. Emma, the sensitive member of the group, gasped and clutched her chest. "I can feel their presence," she whispered. "They're here, watching us." Alex rolled his eyes, clearly unimpressed. "Come on, Emma. You can't seriously believe in this nonsense." Before Emma could respond, a sudden draft blew through the mansion, extinguishing the candles that had been flickering dimly in the corners. The group stood in darkness, their breaths shallow and hearts pounding. The group's flashlight beams cut through the oppressive darkness, revealing a labyrinthine interior that seemed to shift and change with every step. Whispers echoed through the halls, and the floorboards creaked beneath their feet as if mocking their intrusion. Professor Roland, undeterred by the eerie atmosphere, led the way with an old, leather-bound journal in hand. "According to my research," he said, "the mansion's tragic history began with the disappearance of the Blackthorn family over a century ago. No one ever found out what happened to them." Sarah's eyes gleamed with excitement. "That's where we'll start our investigation. We need to find out what really happened here." As they ventured deeper into the mansion, they encountered unsettling sights and sounds. Unexplained whispers grew louder, and the air became heavy with an oppressive presence. Emma continued to sense the spirit's restlessness, her face pale and drawn. Suddenly, a chilling cry echoed through the corridors, making everyone freeze in terror. It was a woman's voice, filled with anguish and despair. Sarah and Alex exchanged horrified glances. "That was real, right?" Alex stammered, his skepticism wavering. Emma nodded, tears welling in her eyes. "It was one of them. They're trying to communicate." With trembling hands, they followed the source of the cry, leading them to a decrepit room at the end of a dark corridor. The room was adorned with faded wallpaper and peeling paint, and a decaying crib stood in the center, covered in dust and cobwebs. Sarah approached the crib cautiously and gasped when she saw a ghostly apparition of a woman cradling a spectral infant. The woman's eyes were hollow, and her face contorted with grief. "She's one of the Blackthorn family," Professor Rowland whispered. "She must be trying to tell us something." Sarah nodded and addressed the spirit. "We want to help. What happened to your family?" The ghostly woman's wails grew louder, filling the room with her mournful cries. The group watched in horror as the room seemed to come alive with ethereal figures, all trapped in a never-ending nightmare. As the ghostly apparitions continued to manifest, their haunting cries and tormented visages painted a gruesome picture of the Blackthorn family's fate. The group learned that a malevolent force had taken hold of the mansion, driving its inhabitants to madness and despair. Sarah, determined to uncover the truth, delved deeper into the history of the Blackthorn family. She uncovered a series of journal entries hidden within the mansion, each one more disturbing than the last. They detailed the family's descent into madness, their desperate attempts to ward off the malevolent entity that plagued them, and their eventual demise. The more Sarah read, the clearer it became that the spirits were trapped within the mansion by a powerful and vengeful force. It seemed that the key to setting them free lay in unraveling the sinister mystery that bound them to Blackthorn Manor. As the group explored further, they discovered a hidden chamber beneath the mansion, a place that had remained untouched for generations. Inside, they found a disturbing altar adorned with ritualistic symbols and a cryptic journal that hinted at a dark pact made by the Blackthorn family. Emma's connection to the spirits grew stronger, and she began to communicate with them, piecing together the fragments of their tormented existence. It was revealed that the Blackthorn family had made a desperate bargain with an otherworldly entity in exchange for power and prosperity. But the entity had demanded a gruesome price: the souls of their own children. The group realized that the malevolent entity still lurked within the mansion, feeding off the suffering and despair of the trapped spirits. They knew that to free the souls of the Blackthorn family, they had to confront this entity and break the cursed pact. The group, armed with newfound knowledge, made their way to the heart of Blackthorn Manor, guided by Emma's connection to the spirits. They entered a vast chamber, dimly lit and dominated by an eerie presence that seemed to emanate from the very walls themselves. As they approached the center of the chamber, a grotesque figure materialized before them. It was a creature of pure darkness, its form constantly shifting and writhing, and its eyes gleamed with malevolence. The entity's voice echoed in their minds, a cacophony of agonized whispers. "You dare intrude upon my domain, mortal interlopers." Sarah, filled with determination, stepped forward. "We're here to free the spirits of the Blackthorn family. You can't keep them prisoner any longer." The entity let out a chilling, otherworldly laugh. "They are bound to me for eternity, just as your fate is now bound to this mansion. You cannot escape." Emma, drawing strength from the spirits, spoke with unwavering resolve. "You may have trapped them, but you cannot extinguish their light. We'll free them, no matter the cost." With that, the group launched into a desperate battle against the malevolent entity, their very souls at stake. The chamber became a maelstrom of supernatural energy, as the entity lashed out with its dark powers, trying to snuff out their existence. Sarah, Alex, Emma, and Professor Rowland fought with all their might, their determination to free the spirits giving them strength. The apparitions of the Blackthorn family lent their assistance, their ethereal forms striking against the entity like a chorus of vengeance. As the battle raged on, it became clear that the entity was weakening. Its form began to fragment, and its malevolent cries grew more desperate. The spirits of the Blackthorn family joined together, channeling their collective power into a final, devastating blow. With a blinding burst of light, the entity was banished from the mansion, its terrible presence dissipating into the ether. The mansion trembled as if it were exhaling a long-held breath, and a sense of peace settled over Blackthorn Manor for the first time in centuries. With the entity vanquished, the group felt a profound sense of relief, but it came at a price. The spirits of the Blackthorn family, finally free from their torment, ascended into the afterlife, their grateful smiles lingering in the air. Sarah, Alex, Emma, and Professor Rowland stood in the now peaceful chamber, the weight of their experience sinking in. They had uncovered the haunting secrets of Blackthorn Manor and freed the trapped souls, but they couldn't escape the mansion's lingering malevolence. As they prepared to leave, a sudden draft swept through the chamber, extinguishing their flashlights and plunging them into darkness once more. A haunting whisper filled the air, chilling their hearts. "You have freed us, but you will never be free from Blackthorn Manor." The group felt an invisible force pulling them deeper into the mansion, despite their desperate struggles to escape. The walls seemed to close in on them, and the corridor stretched endlessly ahead, leading them into an eternal nightmare. And so, as the chilling laughter of the malevolent entity echoed in their ears, Sarah, Alex, Emma, and Professor Roland found themselves trapped within the cursed confines of Blackthorn Manor, their fates forever entwined with its malevolent legacy. The haunting of Blackthorn Manor had claimed its newest victims, and the question remained, would they ever find a way to break free from its sinister grasp, or would they become one with the ghosts that dwelled within its decaying walls?